Welcome to the channel. It's barbecue time since it's still the summer. And one of my favorite dishes is Chipotle Ribeye and a grilled corn salad. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remove all the silk from the corn husks. Now you don't need to save the corn husk unless you plan on cooking in them. If you cook in the corn husk, it'll give it more of a sweeter flavor and less of a charred flavor. But that's up to you. If you do plan on cooking in the husk, you're going to need to soak them for at least 20 minutes in water. I like to cook it out of the husk to give it that charred flavor, which adds another level. So for the chipotle rub, I'm going to use a can of chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. Go ahead and put that in a small blender, to which I'm going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar to bring up the acid. When the sauce is cooking, it's not as hot as you think it will be. Now let's add 1 teaspoon of ground ancho chili powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic paste, or the equivalent of 2 garlic cloves minced up. I like using the paste because it gives a more even distribution in the blender. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. That'll help balance it out and give it a nice caramel coating while it's cooking on the barbecue. Then I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of water just to thin it out a little bit. We're going to give it a nice blend in the blender. Blend it till it's a nice smooth paste. It should only take a couple minutes. So let's get the steak ready. We're going to coat it with salt on both sides. And then we're just going to let it rest. Let it rest till it gets room temperature. You don't want to cook a cold steak. So save half your sauce for later on, but use the other half to go ahead and start by painting on a nice coat of sauce onto the steak, making sure to catch all the sides. Once we get it done painted, we're just going to set it aside to let it soak up all those nice flavors. Something about the smokiness of chipotle and ribeyes really goes great together. So now for my salad dressing on the corn salad, I like a little bit of a punch, so I'm using blue cheese here. About a cup's worth of crumbled blue cheese. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of garlic. And then I'm going to add some white wine. Now, depending whether you want a thick sauce or a thinner sauce for your corn, you can either go a half level of the cup with white wine or 3/4 the way up with white wine. And then you're just going to give it a quick melt in the microwave or in a saucepan. I discovered this sauce by accident in my 20s. Now, I love blue cheese, so this sauce was perfect for me. And something about putting it on sweet corn just made sense to me. Once you get it to the desired thickness, just go ahead and set it aside. So let's start up that barbecue. Once the coals are ready, just go ahead and set the corn straight on the grill. You're going to flip it as needed to make sure it gets a char on all sides. I'm using the husk as handles to help me turn the corn. Altogether, you'll cook it for about 15 minutes. Now the husks won't catch fire, but if they do, don't worry about it. You can use tongs just to flip the corn. And when you're ready and the corn is nice and charred on all sides, go ahead and remove it. So now we're going to go ahead and start up the steak. I'm aiming for a medium rare steak. So what I want to do is I want to cook it until it reaches an internal temperature of 125 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I'm going to let it rest. And you always want to make sure that you let it set for 5 minutes after you pull it off the fire so all the juices can settle. While that's resting, I'm going to go ahead and cut up some tomatoes. I'm using some sweet cherry tomatoes to help balance out the punch from the blue cheese. So once you get that all cut up in nice little quarter pieces, I'm just going to set those aside in a bowl and go on to the next ingredient. Figured with the blue cheese and the cherry tomatoes, what would be nice is some nice avocados to help give a little richness to it. Besides, avocados are good for you. If you make cuts lengthwise and then go once again on the opposite direction, you'll be able to pop it out of the skin in little tiny cubes. Using a sharp knife, just be careful not to cut yourself, and then you'll just be able to pop them out into the bowl. So now we're going to use half a red onion. We're going to dice it up, but first you want to make sure you take off that outer skin. With 1/2 of the red onion, dice it up into small bits and add it to the bowl. Now, of course, you can use any kind of salad dressing you want for this. Honey and lime, cilantro, whatever you like, because, that's the thing about cooking. You take a recipe and you make it your own. So now that I'm done with the onion, I'm going to pull out the corn and remove the husks and get those ready to add to the bowl. Using a sharp knife, I'm just going to go from the bottom up to the tip, removing all that tasty corn. And then just repeat it for all the pieces and add it to the bowl. So once you've got all the corn now added to the bowl, just give it a nice mix, taking all the pieces of corn that maybe have stuck together and break them up. Add the dressing. Add a little bit at a time until you can get to the flavor that you like. Mix it up. Give it a nice toss. Then give it a taste and see if it needs more dressing or maybe a pinch of salt. So set that aside and we'll move on to the next. But like I was saying, the corn salad is just a blank canvas for you to add your own flavors to it. Whether it be Southwestern or something zippy, it's up to you. It's time to cut up that steak. Look at that perfect medium rare. If you plan on sharing the steak, which I suggest you do, you're going to need to take the slices and cut them in half. Should be nice and juicy. Using the rest of that sauce that you saved, put them on the plate. Now we're going to add the ribeye. Add on the corn salad and any other side dishes that you have prepared. It's almost ready to eat. Now I'm garnishing with sweet red jalapenos. You can use whatever you like, but I like it really spicy. Enjoy. Until the next time, I'll see you in the kitchen.